Well, I know y'all don't like when we talk sports on the show, but there's not a lot to talk about here except the S&P's creeping up towards the top of that trading range. Can we finally get in the 4,200 handle? We'll talk about that. Sarepta, that's your big winner of the day. Got very little bit earnings to talk about. We'll talk about the retail earnings season. We'll get a look from across the pond from Michael Hewson, CMC Markets. This is pre-market prep. Get your coffee, get ready. Let's get it going, Mitch.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elkanin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Traders and investors, let's get things started here. We're up 16.25 handles, trying to punch through the high from last week. That's your big number, 41.73 That was Wednesday's high. Buck backing off a little bit, down 16.4 cents at 102.34.5. Bonds just back to 130. We know this is an area of support just above last week's low. We're down 22.30 at 130 and 132nd. We have crude holding in the 70 handle of 54 cents to 70.58. Gold down a smidge, down 270, 2017. Silver, the weak link, trying to stay in the 24 handle. That's down a nickel at 24.10. And Bitcoin futures, I think they lost $1,000 on Friday, getting back 9.10 in Monday session. That's up at 27,395. So let's just get the sports misery out of the way at the top of the show. And Dennis, I wanted to see the hockey game. And so after dinner, after Mother's Day dinner, I put on ESPN and the game wasn't on.
No. So you know why the game wasn't on? It's because they love hockey on ESPN so much that they would not. The NHL wanted to move the game earlier to 8 o'clock. They're like, no, we're not doing that because we're airing the Red Sox game. So the regular season Red Sox game takes precedence over Game 6 elimination game with McDavid, and they would not move it. And NHL caters to ESPN, so they're like, okay, it starts at 10 o'clock at night, and that's it. It was the only option, like Mitch was saying, because the basketball game was at 3:30. They had the Red Sox game at 7, so they put the NHL game at 10. So we had to stay up really late. I was up till 1:30 in the morning, so I'm tired and cranky because the team, obviously, I'm an Oilers fan, and they lost. Goaltending was the main culprit here, but in any regard, this just shows you it's difficult to be sports fans because 32 teams in the league, and you want your team to be the best every year. Well, the odds are like 3%, unless it's the Yankees or it's, those Red Sox too, unless it's one of those, premier franchises. The odds of you winning any given year is pretty low. Like, think about Lions fans. They can't even win a playoff game. Joel, I know, Michigan's had some runs, but it's tough, man. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to win it all.
Only one team does, right?
That's it. The odds are, if you're just doing quick math, it's 3%. That's your odds. So the other 97% go home pissed off. That's where I'm at today.
All right. Well, what about you've had some rough starts to the week, with the overnight trading.
Oh,
and
the trading has not been good for me.
Well, I'll bring this at least to stocks, right? One thing that I would say is your real battle here is not necessarily with ESPN. Your battle is here with Comcast. You need to be mad at Comcast, Dennis. That's what you need to be mad at. Why? Because, of course, it's a subsidy of that's NBC Sports, right? And they didn't pay up to get your hockey on, man.
And if they would have paid up, I wouldn't have had to deal with
ESPN
until 1 o'clock in the morning to watch my team lose anyways.
That's what you need to be upset with. NBC, you got to pay up for your sports, man. Get your hockey back.
Dennis, you could have went to bed earlier. They got killed.
Joel sees 5-2. You can tell the hockey
Just-
fan. He got
Just
killed
stick them.
5-2.
Stick them
He
hard,
doesn't count
Joel.
empty net goals. He doesn't count, close and all the other. No, they got killed. You get lose by 3, equivalent of getting killed in hockey. Let's move on. Sports are just going to piss me off, and I've been in a pissy mood, I feel like, for a month now. So let's try to, not talk sports.
All right. What about debt talk? I don't know if you guys saw, of course, over the weekend, there was some more debt talk. It looks like Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that I'm hopeful. I think negotiations are active. I'm told that they have found some areas of agreement. And this was said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal on Saturday. Do you guys think that this is anything that we should be paying attention to?
It's going to be deal, no deal, deal, no deal. When is the deadline?
I think it's at the end of the month, right? It's supposed to be at the end of the month.
Or is it June? Does anybody have the actual date? I thought it was June.
It is.
We're going to see deal, no deal. This is going to be the driver of the market here, unless we get another regional bank failure. This is going to be the driver here for the next 3 weeks. Deal, no deal. Rally on the deal. Sell off in the no deal, rally on the deal, sell off in the no deal. You know what it equals? Chop, chop, chop. I mean, we keep saying it on the show because this is what has worked for the last 18 months. Chop, chop, chop. Chasing, not working unless it's First Solar. And that's pretty much it.
What about, I'm sorry, I just want to bring it just in the market a little bit. I mean, what's with this rally here? I mean, we made our weekly low on Friday, right? We went under Thursday's low by a couple ticks. Kind of a strong close, backed off, lower open. But, I mean, this has been a pretty steady march. Just straight up here since, basically since 7 o'clock.
I think Mitch just said it. It's debt talk. They're talking more debt.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna get it solved. And then, there'll be a headline 2 days from now. No deal. We're not getting any deal with defaulting on our debt.
So
there it
pretty
is.
Much this.
It just got it. YouTube will find
deal,
us for that.
No deal, baby. Deal.
It's advertisement, no deal. YouTube. We're advertising for deal, no deal. So we're allowed to show that.
All right. We'll see what happens if this is something that we should pay attention to. I think it's just kind of at the end of the day, political talk. It's going to go back and forth. And then eventually there'll be a deal. Let's just be honest.
They're not going to default on their debt.
Yeah, they're
and
not
that's going to be the deal. Once they say the deal is going to be the driver to probably drive us over 420 eventually. Try to take us out of this trading range.
I mean, it isn't the bank talk that drive us down, right? We didn't hear PacWest disappear this weekend.
No, they're holding on.
I think we all were holding our breath.
Holding on. But we're a lot different from last Monday when PacWest was rallying 100%. Now it's kind of meandered and leaking back down to those lows. KRE not helping anything here, Mitch. It can't seem to get off the lows either. IWM has just been in a trading range for 2 months here. Can't seem to go either direction either. It's trying to get direction from the regional banks. So, and then you got the Qs, and they're just their own story, and they continue to be resilient, continue to be in a bull market. That's the dips they continue to buy. They get a little dip on Microsoft, they start buying it. They get a little dip on the Amazons now. They seem to, come in here and they're buying that one too. And Google, now that's the monster performer. 2 months ago when they had the fiasco when they said the wrong answer, that was apparently the best buying opportunity of all time because now they think Google's going to take over the world in AI. This market is so ridiculously headline driven.
Yeah, and it seems to me though, at the end of the day, it wants to go up. It's just being held back by the bank concerns. At least that's what we're seeing in the price action. We also saw really good price action from First Solar last week. And I mean, man, what a move there and turnaround in solar stocks. I mean, for a second there, you thought First Solar was just done. It cracked. It didn't want to come back. And all of a sudden, boom, now you're higher than those daily charts. What to think about this?
Try to make heads or tails out of some of these headlines. And once the algos get her going one direction, we've seen some wicked moves. There's maybe none more wicked than this First Solar move because I don't know if anybody knew how to interpret it. We thought she'd stall out at 200. It was trading, I think, 195 in the morning when we were talking about it. And we thought 200 is a big level. It gets up to 200. It's going to stall out there. Hell no. It didn't even touch 200. It gapped up through there and just kept running up to all-time highs. So from bliss, for the last year pretty much, to piss for a month and right back to bliss here instantly. So your leaders continue to lead. And I mean, First Solar is now the leader in solar, I guess, because it's the one they want to buy.
They liked the deal. I mean, they did a deal, right? And they,
You ever seen a stock go up that much on somebody buying something?
no,
I never. That's a new one for me.
when I read the textbooks back in back in the day, stocks were supposed to go down. Now I don't know,
Usually,
how big of a deal it was. So if it was, I mean, they
apparently,
liked the
very big
deal,
deal.
but just going back to just to try and bring it back to like education, learning a little bit. If you were shorting the open there at 203.80, and you saw it tick 203.40, you must have saw that for like a nanosecond because that the low of the day 40 opened up $20, it dipped 40 cents. That was the pullback. So it goes back through
It
that
was
open.
wicked.
I mean,
Faders on that one got killed, so it isn't just an automatic fade on everything. Apparently, the open, Joel, that open. Look at where it opened, and look at where it was trading. 10 minutes, 30 minutes after the open. It opened around what
203.80,
and it was 2:30. 30 minutes later, like holy cow! These things start going one direction, on individual names, and they go. And I mean, we got a big move in Sarepta here this morning too, which we can talk about. But that I don't even know how to. I don't even know how you trade that First Solar on something like that. Like you're just getting run. If you're fading it, you're getting run over. So we've been saying fade and spin the trade, but definitely wasn't in First Solar on Friday.
And let's take a look at the other solar stocks off that move too, right? Some sympathy moves in ENPH. Boom, that was up. Not nearly the kind of day. I don't know. Do people short First Solar? I mean, we always blame the evil shorts, but man, if you were short that thing and it's filling the cap, but ENPH had a decent day. That's up another couple bucks. It's
Maxen's the one that I'll keep on watch with their earnings. SEDG also nice little move above 300, then below 300.
Yeah, nothing like that in the ETF.
There's nothing like it in the ETF. Bring up the tan. It doesn't look anything like First Solar. It looks like it's in a bear market. So it's one stock.
There's two stocks here, though, that I say that keep an eye out for, smaller ones, Array and Maxen. I feel like those are setting up because Maxen had good earnings. They gave their earnings, and then Array has been building up a little bit there. And I'm going to look to see if Array can make a move to 23.
But SunPower goes down every single day. I've been saying there's support at 10. It looks like it wants to go there. Maybe you take a shot, but again, the momentum is just not in your favor here. CSIQ's been a dog. That hasn't participated whatsoever here, Joel. I think that reports this week. It does. It reports Thursday.
Good support. So, it's finding support.
It is, but it's just funny. Like there is separation and the rotation. This is what's probably killing me the most in the last couple of months. It's the rotation even within industries. Like you often see rotation, defensive names are in favor, or cyclical names are in favor, or tech is in favor, and it rotates around. And it's doing that rotation, but it's also rotating within industries itself because you're seeing certain stocks that are doing crappy, and in the tech sector, I mean, you find certain stocks that aren't participating, which is crazy. So it's definitely just a market of rotation. I've never seen rotation in 23 years. Of trading here professionally, 24 actually going on now. 24 years of professional trading. I can't remember the rotation being this vicious, and that's what's keeping the S&P almost still, Joel. It's almost it's almost like it's being manipulated just to keep the S&P doing nothing. And then you've got some stocks ripping higher, and you got other stocks just can't catch a bid, and there's like separation. There's never been more of a stock picker's market than we're in here right now.
Completely agree with you guys. We'll bring up a little graphic I have a little later. We can talk a little bit more about this. Let's go ahead and let's get into our first headline of the day. Let's go to, of course, SRPT, Sarepta. You guys can check it out. FDA AdCom narrowly supporting the approval of Sarepta's gene therapy for rare neuromuscular disorder. As you guys can see, this is getting a nice little lift. It was actually halted for a second there, and then came unhalted with the news.
Yeah, it was halted all day Friday. So they were halted all day Friday, did not trade Friday. They were waiting on this decision. The decision did come after the bell, and the decision was good for Sarepta. And you can see the stock gapping up here too. I believe this isn't a final decision, though. This is just a recommendation, is it not? I didn't look at the details here, Mitch. But and I'm not following the story closely, so forgive me. But I don't believe this is a final decision on this drug.
Yeah, it seems like they got a final decision to make. Right now, they're leaning towards approval, and
Yeah.
that's what's giving it the lift, right? Is that for right now, it's narrowing support. You can see that it's slated to make its decision by May 29th. And so that would be the
soon.
final approval date.
So they
right now, they're
now,
leaning
Yeah.
towards the approval.
So 160 is major resistance on this. We did this exercise with First Solar, though, and then we got run over. So I'm not fading anything that's up 26% at this point in time, because sometimes they continue. But if I was long, I'd probably ring the register. So not going short, but if I was long, I'd probably ring the register in this 150s, because this isn't a final decision yet. And I got to think there's going to be some people coming in. But, you know, it starts taking out, making new highs. You never want to be short of stock. Write this down. Never short of stock. Making a new all-time high, or not all. I don't know if it's
not all time, but holy
multi-year
macro.
high.
The thing that jumps out at me is, look, you had some nervous Nellies on Thursday, or is it Wednesday and Thursday because it didn't trade on Friday? Look at the price action. Let me go to the daily here, because if it didn't trade on Friday, right? Friday was the 15th, right? It didn't trade on the 12th, but look what the fourth. Look what they did on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, that was a tough candle.
Look at that. Or excuse me, on Wednesday and Thursday.
Shaking and baking.
Yeah, Wednesday
them on Thursday for sure.
134.89. You tick down at 113.31 on Thursday. You closed at 120.
You know what that is, man?
Roasted.
Those are the stop hunters right there, man. That is stop hunting. Those are people just sitting out there with their orders, and they got picked off.
You have a stop out on a biotech stock that's supposed to be reporting news on a drug. Are you on drugs yourself? But I would say anybody that I would think anybody that caught the dip in this. I mean, like, if you got 125. Oh, I'm glad about that. Wait, 111.
Those are the shakes,
120.
man.
I think, man. Dennis, I know you could. First Solar. I'll give you 158 as a target on the upside. I would say you don't see that. What's the pre-market high? The pre-market high is 158. I'd say anything above 155 in the regular session would be absolute gravy on this. You had three highs. What was the actual high of the move here? 159.84. I'd say anything between 155 and 60. If you see it, I have a feeling you're going to have to bring your offers down. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, pre-market high 158.
And again, it's not even the final decision. So it could still be people like, I'm going to take this profit because I don't know, maybe they don't approve it. And then all of a sudden you tank. Like bird in the hand here. This is a bird in the hand trade.
So this is it. So this is not the official. This is what they say.
I don't think so. I don't think it's the recommendation. I think. Let me look.
So the big part of this is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to get an accelerated approval, and so they've already gotten some approval for this. They don't have to give the answer by that date, but that would be if they got that accelerated approval. They voted 8-6 in support for the accelerated approval of this drug.
Specifically. Yeah, the FDA, I just had it here. Specifically, they support. So it's the FDA advisory committee. That's all. So this isn't the FDA. It's the advisory committee. So they're advising them to approve it. But that doesn't mean they're going to approve it. You don't know that for
doesn't
sure.
Mean 100%.
So that's why I'm saying bird in the hand trade. I'd ring the register because you never know. Maybe they don't approve it. They likely will now, because I think they usually follow those advisory committees. But again, this is not an official approval here yet.
And also, I think this is one that tells you that look for pullbacks, right? Opportunity, because you got that pop, right? It came in March 3rd, and then it came right back down to support, giving you that opportunity to get back into it if you thought that this was going to get approved, right?
Support in this stock with that kind of news out there?
At least the weekly chart gave you good levels. I think the weekly chart gave you a really good level.
Mitch, this is biotech stocks. You gotta take the charts and burn your chart book, man. This is move and news and momentum. I mean, it's just a flip of a coin. But anyway, because your charts would have had you short the thing based on the price action on Wednesday and Thursday. But let's move on to a bad news stock, perhaps, like H&R Block.
Let's do that, right? Probably not the news you want to be hearing, but let's go to HRB. Let's go as the shares of tax service companies are trading lower following news that the Biden administration is considering and creating a government-run tax preparation alternative. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, let's just be honest. Pretty much everyone uses it.
Yeah.
This, Joel, you were talking
AI,
about
baby, AI.
AI. Maybe with AI. Maybe with AI. I'm going to tell you, the IRS, and you obviously know this tax, to go do tax preparation services for government run, they need more employees at the IRS first, just to process the returns.
Yeah.
So I'm Canadian. And I have an IRS because I've worked in the States for Breakout for so many years. So I have my U.S. return. My U.S. return, the 1 year, took 10 months to process. They literally hadn't processed it because maybe I'm Canadian. They got to look and do different stuff with it. I don't know. But it took forever because the Canadian government was looking at and saying they wanted like my transcript to show that, I'm paying U.S. tax and stuff. And I'm like, I can't provide that because they haven't processed my return yet. It's October, but they haven't processed the return from the previous year. They did eventually process it, and but they are so behind. They are so understaffed at the IRS. We know that. Remember the articles going back a year ago that it took, that they answer 1 in 50 calls. I don't think it's that bad anymore, but I can remember being on hold and then it disconnects, and you go through the automation hell, and you finally get to a real operator, and then it disconnects. Or you just don't get picked up. It would answer this message. You go through the automation hell for 10 minutes, and then it goes, "We are too busy at this time. Please try again on the next business day." I mean, that's what
a classic U.S. standard right there.
That is how the IRS is run because they are so understaffed. And now Biden's just magically going to create a tax service to do tax preparation? With what staff? With what staff? This is ridiculous. There's no way in the world they'll ever find the staff to do this unless it's all done by AI, to Mitch's point. But I mean, this is just impossible. You got to fix the IRS, get the returns process before worrying about, coming in and providing new services here. So I see almost zero chance that this happens. Now, if we talk the stock, it's going to spook H&R Block because if this did happen, it would be the worst possible news for H&R Block ever. I don't think this is going to happen.
Well, the street, this stock has been in a wicked downtrend for a while since February. I can't say I see just based on the pre-market trading, you have someone nibbling here, and they're nibbling, not a lot of volume at 29. I got it's below the prior low for the move, which is 30.75. Then you get into this big candle here. I would just see how it trades today, and maybe if it could put 1 or 2 lows in this area. But also, if you wanted to buy this stock or you were short it, this is the best possible news you can get, right? And then when they come out and say, well, we're not going to be able to do that, then the thing they usually go down more than they pop.
They'll try. They'll come up and they'll say, oh, yeah, we're working on this. They're not just going to throw it out. There's no way this ever happens.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think the chances of this are like, you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah, 1 in a million. I'm telling
1 in a million.
Right from Dumb and Dumber. You're telling me there's a chance? Yeah, 1 in a million.
I'll bet you $1.
Joel's on those odds. I'm not officially giving those odds out there, though. I'm not a bookie.
Oh, man.
Also,
Mitch was going to bet $1 too.
I was going to do $2, bro. I'm trying to say
$2.
Yeah. Into hit is getting hit on.
Into hit is getting, and you know what? This is maybe the one you'll want to buy on. But again, I don't want to be the first day on this, because again, if you have into it or you have H&R Block, and this actually did happen, these stocks are hammered. It's direct attack on the revenue. But I do not think this is going to happen. I do think this will pass, and I do think Intuit is going to be a buy here, but not on day one.
Also, they didn't say that you would have to use that one, right? They said an alternative, right? So you wouldn't necessarily have to use this software. You could also still use H&R Block.
No, but if you got a government prep, it's going to be way cheaper or free.
Cheaper or free, right? Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit better, right? Is the cheaper or free part.
Oh yeah.
For this one, 400. There's a little gap to fill because I would look at these couple bars here. This is a good update when it went from 400 to 410. But all I can say is, man, I'm glad I don't work for H&R Block anymore. You know, I used to work for them.
Yeah.
No, did you?
Yeah,
I
they
didn't know that.
bought Oldie.
Oh, way
They
back
bought
in the day.
They bought Oldie discount. Actually,
You're a
I wasn't-
trader for H&R Block.
Well, actually, I had started Bright Trading when H&R bought her, but when they bought them out. But yeah, is there any other Jackson Hewitt tax services? Is there anything else publicly traded?
All of them, yeah. What's
Jackson
Jackson
Hewitt's?
Hewitt? That was at one time. Is that still publicly traded?
I have no idea.
We're going look. Jackson Hewitt publicly traded. It used to be. Like it bought out.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
got a whole bunch of symbols. No, wait a second.
Is it?
I'm looking at
No,
them. I'm looking
I think it's
for 'em.
gone.
Is it
Yeah,
gone?
It was JHTX. But
Yeah,
maybe
it
it
was
got bought
that.
out.
I think it
I
got
don't
bought
know.
out
I
or
do
something.
remember trading it years ago. Wait a second.
JHTXQ. No,
Or did it go under?
I didn't get
I don't think
anything.
it went under.
Oh.
Files sell. Yeah, I know it was in existence. Chat's not.
Yeah, it's not in existence no more. I can tell
I
you.
can't
that
find
much.
it either. So
Yep, doesn't
we
exist.
got
So we only
into
got
it.
two.
We got H&R Block.
Into it, H&R Block. Those are the
Yep.
two you can go after.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean,
They're
the news is
already
already
going
in, and of course, I don't think we're going to get an update probably today from Biden, but who knows?
Oh, no, the
This is
next
going to
thing
take
we're
a
gonna
long time.
6
probably.
months from now.
Yeah.
I mean, we might never talk about this show on the show again,
Yeah.
except when they say, "Oh, well,
This
yeah,
isn't gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it again, just to there. This is very. I'm not. It's not one. I'm not giving you one in a million odds here. And you guys always.
Oh
bits.
man.
But I'm telling
We
you,
wanted to take that and
there
run,
is
Dennis.
very little chance that they're gonna find the staff to actually go through with this. So this will
Well,
be
I'll tell you
forgotten.
what. Maybe they'll use Monday.com. Let's go to Monday.com here.
Holy.
As they got
Must be
Q1
Monday. Next time we
adjusted
buy the
EPS.
stock Monday on Monday.
Oh yeah, why would you not buy this
Why
stock?
would you not buy the Monday stock? You know how these algos think. You know how these algos think.
Jeez,
They
what
think
is wrong with us
statistically.
today?
Of course they're buying
14
Monday.com on
cents.
Monday.
I feel like I'm down money
We're
for not
so
owning
dumb,
this stock
Joel.
today.
This is the most simple trade ever.
Do they always report on Monday, Mitch? I think this is Mitch's fault that he didn't tell
Yeah,
us
we
about
messed
on
this one up.
Friday
Yeah,
because
yes,
he
that's
didn't
exactly
preview the
what it
earnings.
is. I'm sorry. I should have told you guys on Friday.com that
Yeah.
Monday.com was
Yeah,
coming.
you buy Monday.com on for the Monday trade. So you actually have to buy Monday.com on the Friday when the report.
I'll tell you what. Monday has been trying to get out there and get a lot of companies. I heard them offer like kind of free things. You know, it's kind of your H&R kind of service using AI, different things like that. One thing that was interesting here, they did beat on their EPS at 14 cents, which beats the loss estimate of 28 cents. So at least making some money, right? Sales at 162.3 million beat the 155.3 million. They do see Q2 total revenue at 168 million to 170 million versus a 165.6 million estimate. They see fiscal total revenue 702 to 706 million versus a 690.74 million estimate. So really good guidance outlook and a really nice beat on the EPS.
I'm
Monday,
not trading, man. It's in
baby.
the-
I thought it
up
was
16.
Monday.
I'm scared. After First Solar, I'm scared to fade anything. It's going up 16%. And I don't chase, so I'm just out.
Yeah.
Out on this one.
What's the current? I mean, it looks like it's pretty strong here.
Yeah,
What-
it's pretty. No, it's fairly thin. Like it's fairly. It's
Well, like,
thin,
what's
but
the-
it's,
what's
it's
the
in
market? Like,
here?
what-
152.30 to 153. So there's a market
Okay,
here.
I was going to say 52.5 to 53.5. If I was long this stock, I would like. There's three highs in this same area here. I'd be hoping for this 157 to 157.40. 3 out of 4 days and they had highs right in that area. Not 3 out of 4, maybe 3 out of 5. 57.40, 57.05, and 56.74. So follow through the pre-market high. If I was long, I'd be really keying for that area. Where support is, I mean, I guess you can maybe kind of say, but not really, 150 because there were three highs in that area. So I don't know. I think the same will be all over the place, but 157 looks juicy. Do we? All right. So here we go. We got Austin Goolsbee speaking on inflation. And he said something that inflation's going higher and they're hitting the S&Ps. This is going to be
Headline-driven market
this is
never
horrible.
goes away.
I
We are so headline-driven. That's why the chop. It's like you have some markets that are technically driven. We've been in a headline market here, I feel like, for months and months and months. And yeah, one commentary from a CMEC Chicago Fed president, and now we're going to sell the stock. So welcome to Chop World.
Listen to this. 8:45 Bostic, 9:15 Kashkari, 12:30 Fed barking, and then
He'll be
at
barking.
at 5 o'clock Fed Cook speaking. Unbelievable. I mean,
Who knows?
if that's what you want to do.
There's risk of recession. I mean, I don't think that's.
There's risk of everything.
I mean,
But the
come
market
on,
ignores it.
Yeah, like I don't think that's necessarily the thing to focus on here. But
There's
one thing to
risk-
notice, right, is you are getting some sentiment coming down and things like that. So a little bit of a shift in at least the consumer. I know that did you catch your University of Michigan sentiment number last week, Joel?
It was bad, right?
6-month low. So
But
at
that's
least the
good.
consumer.
But that's good.
Well, you know how it is. Bad news, good news, I guess.
That's
That
what
just
we're
shows
in.
that the recession's
The market
closer,
we're
I
in.
guess.
Well, that's good.
Hey, I really don't know what's going to happen
good news
there,
and bad
but
news anymore here. Joel, takeovers.
I have no idea.
30%.
Oh man, I have no idea. But all right, we got our guest coming on here in a couple minutes.
Spinner saying 12 Fed speakers this week.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to Chop Fest, folks. They're all have different opinions. They're not even all the same page. They all have different opinions. That's how dysfunctional.
Who wants to stand out in the news the most? We'll find out this week. That's for sure.
Who's got the loudest voice?
Yeah, who has the loudest voice? Of course, Barkin. He's going to come with it. But we'll see what happens. I mean, overall, they should be patting themselves on the back, if anything, right? They shouldn't really be so negative. At least I feel so. They're beating inflation somehow.
Oh, they've done a great job. There's no doubt they've done a good job here in the last little bit anyways. They didn't panic on the regional banking crisis. And yeah, inflation is coming down somewhat. They did a terrible job setting us up for this, though. It's all their fault that we're in this situation. But
no one wants to talk about that.
Fairly well. So we'll give them credit for managing the situation that they put us in.
Yeah.
But yeah, is inflation going to come back? Sure, it is. It's going to come.
It can't. Yeah, it can't. It can't go like in a straight line.
The only way it doesn't is if we fall into a serious recession. The soft landing scenario, again, maybe it's going to happen, but the soft landing scenario is if the economy goes into a recession, the soft landing scenario is just not even really possible. It's because the only way you're going to get inflation to come in is if we go into a recession. So I still don't see how you have a soft landing, but this market, silver lining market, will find a way to be bullish anyways.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get out of the SPY. Let's go to our guest today. All right, we got Michael Hewson, Chief Market Analyst, CMC Markets. Welcome back, Michael.
Good morning, guys. How are you? Good weekend?
Yeah, not bad. It won't be too good for Dennis on the ice, but we won't talk too much about the ice
sports.
So how you doing, Michael? How's it over there across the pond? Are you guys still kind of focusing on inflation? I know it's a little bit higher for you guys over there. How's it been?
Yeah, it is very much quite a bit higher here in the UK. It's still above 10%, but I think 10.1%. Core price is a little bit low, around about 6.2. So certainly room for it to come down. But there are one-off factors that are keeping our headline CPI number high. They should drop out in the numbers that are released in just over 2 weeks' time. We should see a fall to around about 8.5% on a year-on-year basis. And we are operating a little bit with a lag. With you guys, obviously, you are self-sufficient when it comes to oil and gas, whereas we're not. We contracted it out to external sources rather misguidedly, and we're now paying the price for that. But the hope is that inflation will start to fall off quite sharply on the back of the decline in natural gas and oil prices that we've seen over the course of the past few months.
All right. Well, just to follow on that one, you kind of just mentioned it there. For a while there last year, it was all the worry about natural gas. And for a while, you can see it's been pretty cheap since then. But will we actually run into some worry this year, Michael?
In the short term, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I think reserves over here in Europe are around about 90% still, which is unheard of. I mean, we've had a fairly mild winter in terms of cold weather. Also in Europe, they've been quite good at saving energy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be a headwind going forward. Looking at the direction of oil and gas prices, I am actually fairly surprised how low they are. I mean, I think anyone who you would have listened to over the course of the past 5 months was telling you that oil was going to over $100 a barrel and natural gas prices were going high. That hasn't happened. And I think a large part of that is down to what's going on in China. That so-called V-shaped rebound hasn't taken place. And I don't know whether you guys have noticed this, but last week we saw China PPI factory gate prices coming at minus 3.6%. That's the 6th consecutive month that Chinese factory gate prices have been negative. So what does that tell you about global demand? And ultimately, does that mean that China could well export that over here? So, you know, inflation is coming down. The bigger problem that I'm looking at is where's the new baseline? Because I still think it's going to be significantly above that 2% target.
How would you characterize your markets, your stock markets over there? I mean, I don't know if you tuned in before. I mean, we're just in a trading range like of no other trading ranges with, you know, the S&Ps is if their stock's going, I mean, it's just being supported. The triple Qs obviously have been strong by the mega cap tech. The small caps cannot get off the mat here. How would you characterize is your market in the like the malaise factor like over here, or are there some like definite, you know, clear winners like we have in the tech sector and clear losers?
Well, yeah, there are some clear winners. I mean, we can see that quite clearly, you know, in the performance of Rolls-Royce. Travel and leisure particularly have had a really strong start to the year over here. Rolls-Royce simply because it has maintenance contracts for the engines of all the major airlines. So they've been flying more. Consequently, Rolls-Royce's revenues are much better than they were this time a year ago. Having said that, they reported their latest first quarter numbers last week, and the market was disappointed that they didn't upgrade their full year guidance, and yet their full year guidance when they published it 3 months ago was fairly decent. So, you know, it's always, you know, markets always want more jam tomorrow. But if I could categorize what's happened over the course of the past 3 months, it's pretty much Zedsville, Arizona. We've been stuck in a range with a tumbleweed blowing across the desert, and we're not really going anywhere. All of the gains that we've seen so far this year were posted in the first 2 months of this year. Since March, we've gone nowhere. We've traded in a fairly tight range, albeit at the slight top end of that range. But, you know, to all intents and purposes, we've gone nowhere. And the Russell 2000, for example, which is flat or slightly down on the year, is down 9% over the last 3 months. Pretty much everything else is either one or 2% either way. So for me, I think we're just stuck at the moment.
Are you buying the inflation data that we're getting? I mean, they're 10 months in a row. I mean, I've seen, you know, different evaluations of the numbers. We don't know about the inputs of the numbers, but you know, the Fed still. I mean, they talked about a 2% target, and then I think in his last speech he said, "Well, first let's get it to 3." And I was looking at that as if a potential Fed pivot, but what I mean. It seems like if the market really believed that inflation was really under control like it is, albeit the banking crisis, and we can get to that in a second, it's just like, why aren't we, but if inflation is that much in check, why aren't we busting out here above 4,200?
Is it though? I mean, if you look at services inflation, prices are still fairly elevated. I mean, I could talk to you about food prices here in the UK. They're rising at around about 18% per annum. In Germany, it's even higher, 22%. So the people who you rely on to go out and buy your goods and services are getting absolutely battered by much higher cost of living prices. And when you've got wages that are lagging ever so slightly behind, or in our case over here, a long way behind, the spending power of that consumer is going to make it very, very hard, I think, for a pickup in economic growth. But what I would say is that your PPI numbers are encouraging from what we saw last week, 2.4%, I think, which was the lowest since January 2021. So that shows that CPI, which, if you take the view that PPI is a leading indicator, which I do, there are some who might disagree, but if you take that as a leading indicator, then that does appear to suggest to me that we are starting to slow ever so slightly. But does that mean we're going to get a Fed pivot? Does that mean that we're going to get rate cuts in the back quarter of this year or the last half of this year? Come on, do me a favor. Are you trying to kid? I don't think anyone believes that.
I think I would think there with energy going down that'd probably be the only way we're going to get this inflation number to where we want it, right? I mean, energy prices have been down month to month relative. WTI about 14%, gasoline, crude oil about 13.5%. We have been seeing, at least for oil, the change in prices. Do you feel that this is going to be what actually drives inflation lower? Just kind of prices of oil coming down? Because I don't see it coming down in food. We don't see it coming down in services or rent. Those things seem like they're just going to be sticky. The only thing I can see of bringing it down is the energy trade.
Yeah, and I think you really have to believe that energy prices are going to continue to fall. And for me, you have to take the view that I think there is a base for energy prices. OPEC Plus is not going to allow prices to fall. You've also got the fact that the Biden administration needs to refill the SPR. So you've got a buyer of last resort coming in pretty much just below where we are at the moment, around about the mid-60s. So for me, I think crude oil prices have got a base of around about $60, $65 a barrel, which means most of that cost or that decline in inflation is already in. So really the question now is, where do oil prices go from here? And for me, I think the range is now something in the region of 65, 85.
We're on the line with Michael Hewson from CMC Markets, joining us here in pre-market prep. Michael, here we talk about the inflation picture and interest rates and whatnot, and we've been talking about a recession now for like 2 years or a year and a half now. But one thing that that I look at, I mean, I use the eyeball test, and I don't know if it's just my area or other areas I've traveled to, and they're still building houses. I mean, and people, even with interest rates, elevated here, and I look at some of these housing stocks that are still, trading at very reasonable valuations here, and everyone's waiting for them that fall off the cliff. What's it like over there? What's the economy? How's the housing market? I don't know if you live, in downtown or if you live out in a cushy suburb or whatever. But I mean, you could take recession. You could think there were all these things. But if you looked at Toll Brothers or D.H. Horton or some of these housing stocks, you'd be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, the housing market here, or if you look at the housing stocks over here, the house builders, they've been declining for about the best part of the last 3 years. I mean, obviously, the COVID pandemic didn't do them any favors because it put their unit labor costs up because of the cost of raw materials and what have you. And the most recent price surveys have shown that prices have been falling quite consistently over the course of the past 9 to 10 months. We did see a modest uptick last month, and generally housing here tends to be fairly seasonal. So house buyers tend to dip their toes back into the market around about April, May time. We are starting to see that happen. And an awful lot of people over here are on what we call fixed rate mortgages. That's unlike you guys in the US, where you basically sign up for a mortgage for the whole term of 25 or 30 years at a certain rate. You can only get fixed rates here for 2 or 5 years. So my main concern, I think, now is, given how quickly the base rate has risen over the course of the past 12 months, there will be a whole cohort of householders, not house builders, householders, who will switch to a variable rate at some time over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. So I'm not optimistic. People are having to settle for slightly below their asking price. That's keeping a lid on prices. And ultimately, there are more buyers than sellers, which is helping to keep a little bit of a floor under house prices. But that challenges margins for house builders in particular.
What
So
about
it's a very
downtown
difficult
London?
sector.
What about downtown London?
Well, again, I mean, house prices there have been fairly stable over the
Okay.
course of the past 2 or 3 years, because even if you get forced sellers, you've got plenty of overseas buyers who are ready to basically swoop in on the back of the cheap pound. So,
Okay.
Chinese buyers or Arab buyers, Russian buyers, not so much. They're more forced sellers now with all the sanctions. But nonetheless, there's still a fairly steady stream of overseas buyers for the sort of the top-notch London properties. In the suburbs, sort of South London, East London, West London, prices are holding up fairly well.
Okay. All right. Little different perspective from Michael Hewson. He's the chief market analyst over there at CMC Markets. Thanks a lot, Michael. We'll be down you up
guys.
again soon. Thank you. Thanks again.
All
right. S&Ps, we got the leak because of Goolsby, and now you got you got Tudor Jones saying I think equity prices will continue to go up this year. So
It's a chop fest.
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right.
Everybody's got a different opinion in this market. That is the one thing that has kept me like saying chop, 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 because everybody is on it. Sometimes you get like, it seems like there's full bulls, there's full bears. It seems like everybody's on a different side here. I mean, you get into a room with 100 people and half of them are bullish and half of them are bearish. I mean, and obviously, that's a lot of it, it depends on the sector you're talking about. People are very bullish tech, but it's just a very mixed market. And I mean, this is why we're having so much trouble getting out of this range on the S&P, because it's very mixed. The opinions are mixed. Nobody's got a crystal ball. Nobody knows, we haven't inflation like this in 30 years. So how easy does it come down? Well, it seems to be looking pretty good. But then, we have Michael Hewson coming on here and saying they're still running 10% over in the UK. Well, that doesn't sound good. So, I mean, we're all connected to a certain extent. So we get the 4.9 tick and we're like, yeah, we've won. And, but have we? So it's tough. When there's different market opinion, when opinions of people start to matter, the market has no idea where it wants to go.
That's the truth. All right. Well, we still got some more headlines to get through. I'm going to go ahead and pump us through it. Let's get to, of course, daily TradeZero segment. Let's go. All right, first one we're going to take a look at Newmont Corp. Of course, it's I'll call it Acquisition Monday because there's 2 acquisitions out there right now. Looks like Newmont Corp inked a deal to fully acquire Newcrest Mining Limited. That's an OTC stock, NCMGY. The offer values Newcrest Mining around $19 billion and is the gold's biggest ever transaction. And this was put out by Bloomberg. Newcrest shareholders will receive 0.4 of Newmont shares for Newcrest shares and get a special dividend with $1.10 from Newcrest, representing a 30.4%.
I don't think the stock trades, does it? Where are you getting this?
Yeah.
What's
I got
the symbol?
Neo
It's like
Game.
5 symbols on this.
NCMGY.
What is it?
And Nancy, Casper, Mitch. There you go. How's that one? Golf, Yankee. So NCMGY.
Yeah, it has this bulletin board. It hasn't traded. I don't know if this was grabbing off the board. I don't even see it on the board. So yeah. Anyways, I don't think this thing trades too
OTC
much. Looks like
stock
by appointment only here. I hate OTC stocks. So let's move on. There ain't nothing to happen here. NGMS though is interesting here this morning, and this is another deal.
That's
here.
The next
Mitch?
one. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's
What's
go to
the deal
that
on this
one. Okay, this is an iGaming solution provider, Neo Games, as their shares are jumping. NGMS. It agreed to be acquired by Australia's Aristocrat Leisure Limited, a gaming technology company. Neo Games will be acquired for $29.50 per share in an all-cash transaction.
Big pop. So this came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting this because this thing was just sitting near the lows and boom. So they kept a tight lid on this one, up 113%. I mean, time value of money is a consideration here. So, when you get these takeovers, you ring the register, move on, a better place to put your money.
Definitely.
Congratulations
we can
to
move
the
on from
Logs.
these. Yeah, definitely. That's what you do. It's definitely congratulations to them. We'll see if they cash out today. Let's keep it going here for some next stocks that are on the radar. There was some
ALB's up there.
Yeah, your ALBs.
Yeah,
Let's get an upgrade. Baird, I think upgrade outperform. I bought more down there. I just think it's ridiculously valued down here. But again, it's cyclical, so you never know. And if you get the lithium, if you have Chile coming in, and there's potential competition coming from different places. This is one of your biggest lithium producers in the world. So they make a lot of money. The P is like 8. So
ALB, it's going to be a lot to determine what happens in Chile. I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure. Short term.
That's what's going to determine it. And long term, right?
Chile,
that matters.
You guys are like.
Isn't that how you say Chile?
That's how you say it. That's how you say it, Joel.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Say it the right way. Everybody else says it wrong. Chile.
Don't worry, Joel. I'll take it. I'll take you to some Spanish countries. Get you speaking Spanish real quick, Joel. I got you. No worries.
Maybe they could do a joint venture with the U.S. government and do taxes and lithium mining together and kind of make it a joint venture.
The truth is, Joel, is that Chile's a little bit nicer to their people and don't destroy their resources like we do sometimes, but we won't go into that action there. And that's what's going on with Chile. Right now, it's a battle of how much lithium do they want to take out of their country and how much do they want to kind of affect their history, their culture. And that's the battle right now going in Chile. So
if this thing holds 200, I mean, they're trading not much above it, up 461. I mean, just the way this thing was, 280, 290 back in late February. I mean, I want to get away in this one. If you need a target today, you're trading some weekly options or something, I give it room up. I'd be looking at like maybe 212 pair highs at 212.22 and 212.47 back on April 14th and a few days after that, April 18th.
Well, the next one here I'm going to go to is this is what happens when you put pickles on the burger and someone doesn't like it, because it looks like we'll go to Shake Shack. Looks like there's a proxy fight going on here. As Wall Street Journal reporting here as that Engage Capital is planning to run a proxy fight for 3 board seats at Shake Shack. They already have a 6.6% stake in Shake Shack, and looks like they're not happy. They got pickles on their burgers. I wouldn't be happy either.
The stock's been popping, though. What was the pop last week? Was that the activist or that was earnings?
I think that was.
It looks like it was earnings.
Quick peek.
Yeah, earnings. So popped on May 4th, the big gap and go. It shows this market, Like, Joel, they still lose the money, but they only lost 1 cent.
Lost less money.
Buy!
Lost less.
That's a beat. I mean, I've never understood the valuation on Shake Shack. Me and Joel went there once, cost me $14 for a hamburger fries combo, and I'm like, never coming back again. It was a decent burger and fries, but a combo. I might have been more. It might have been $16 beer for not. There was no beer. It was fries.
Man, there was a time when it was all about the $5
fries, burgers,
deals.
pop was $16. It was like 2 years ago. It's probably 20 now.
2 years ago, Dennis?
Maybe it's 4 years ago.
4 years ago, Dennis?
So how much is it now? Somebody that goes Shake Shack.
I have no idea.
How much is a burger fry combo at Shake Shack without the beer?
Put it this way. They say if you can go to Shake Shack, if you can go to Five Guys, then you're pretty much rich in this environment. That's what they say out there in the social media world.
Boy, I haven't had a Five Guys in a while.
Yes, because it's going to cost you $15 combo.
I walked out with a heart issue from Five Guys. It tasted awesome, though.
I'm also allergic to peanuts, so they got.
Well, that doesn't help.
I got to be a little careful.
It's awesome.
There.
You sit there, you're waiting for your burger, eating peanuts, drinking your beer.
No, but you know what they do, right?
It's not good on the heart.
It's the model of not giving you a combo, right? The model of, you got to buy your burger, then you got to buy your fries, and then you got to buy your drink all separate so they can get that price to $14, $15. That's how these companies make their money.
And Dennis is complaining. I think I paid because
I was mad even when you paid. You're offended when I
there's that for you.
And Joel paid, and I'm still mad.
All right, let's go to ratings of the day today. We got two of them to talk about. We'll go to SoFi, as SoFi is actually trading down off their ratings.
Really?
Wedbush downgrading from neutral to underperform, as you're seeing SoFi go lower. Of course, regional bank concerns. This one started moving up. It's not looking good. And this is one that,
with the regional banks. Like,
this
people
is one that from 14, it's been just a disaster.
It's been a disaster, and people and it was trading with the KRE, and this continues to trade a little bit with the KRE, even though it's its own kind of thing. I mean, they've got her in there, and it was the regional banks were getting hit. SoFi was getting hit too because I was pair trading it with them. You got a huge support here. You're coming down a huge support area. Never like getting downgraded into that support. It's scary, but we've had a big mover already. 450. It's a big support level here. Let's see if that holds, because that don't hold. Katie Bar the Dory coming in. Well, 424, I guess, is low. Is that the all-time low? Man, it's always tough to be stocks making new all-time lows. We're not too far from all-time lows.
You said it was Wedbush?
Yeah.
Was it David Chiaverini? Was that the analyst?
I don't have the analyst. I can look it up.
Man, I tell you, I had him on last week, and if you guys can, I think Benzinga did an article on it. I mean, this guy downgraded I mentioned this last week. He downgraded a bunch of regionals last year, in the middle of the year, like in June of 2022. I had him on PreMarket Prep Plus on last Wednesday, and man, I remember him talking about this. The other thing about SoFi is I've never seen a stock, and I have to ask ChatGPT AI about this, that pops off earnings and fades. I've not almost every time. This was last week or 2 weeks ago when it hit 650. That was off earnings, and I bet you when it got over $8 here, I've never seen a stock faded off earnings. I think what he said too is something about like they're just not increasing their deposits at all. They're not growing at all. So I don't know. All-time low 424 if you want to take a shot at this one.
What was the analyst name, Joe? I'm pretty sure that was him.
David Chiaverini.
You got it. That, my friend.
Yeah.
Exactly who hit it with the grade. And he went from $5 to $2.50.
Oh boy.
He gave him 50% off there.
And I also hear that stadium that they built out there is horrible. That's where
SoFi Stadium?
Yeah. Yep.
Where is
I mean,
that?
it's pretty big.
Where
it's
is
pretty
it?
big. That's LA.
LA.
But two teams use it, Joel. So I think that benefits them. I'll say if two teams uses it, it's probably not going away, right? Let's just be honest. Let's go to the next one.
The stadium. They just built the thing, and I guess it's all like weird, like design. Well, whatever.
It has a glass roof. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Talk sports anymore. Remember?
Yeah. We got this. We got banned from that. All right, let's go to Raymond James upgrade of Charles Schwab.
Really?
Really?
Well, that's interesting. I like a good contrarian call. I'd love to get on board with it too, and maybe this kickstarts it a bit, but the problem is we still are in a regional banking crisis.
Let me give you what was in the note here. They said concern about the stability of the banking system have not impaired Schwab's ability to attract new accounts and assets. In fact, net new accounts grew at a 4.3% annualized pace in first quarter of 23, while core net new assets grew at 7.5% pace. So Raymond James stepping up from market perform to outperform.
I'm watching the KRE. It's sitting right near the lows. Maybe this is a turnaround story here eventually, but with PAC-W not getting out of its way, I mean, as the more regional banks, this is right in the hole. And why Schwab? Why they have Schwab in there, I don't know. But they've got her all mixed in there. And as the regional banks go lower, Schwab's going lower here too. We just aren't through this regional banking crisis yet, so I can't take a shot on Schwab, not yet.
I'm just looking at this chart here. If this could build a base off 50, right? And we're not right now. We're trading up $1.17. Pre-market highs a little bit above that, but you've had people nibbling under 50 here, and you don't know if they got their full lot on. Like, we really want 50. We don't want to show big bids. We really want to get a big position. So if you could establish a base here at 50. Then I think you got a point. But I mean, ever since the news you just said, I want out after the initial drop. I want out at 60. No, I want out at 55. No, now 50. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't think we'll see what happens today.
It's just every time you want to get bullish this thing, it continues to leak. So
Yeah.
until that KRE starts to turn around and starts to show, like we were saying, we targeted buy them with KRE until it gets over 45.
Yeah, you got to change
36.
that.
I mean, this got a hell of a lot worse. So regional banks are no touch in the long-term portfolio for me. Not yet.
All right. Dennis, someone asked you about PayPal. I just wanted to see what you thought of PayPal.
It goes down every day. Like, it's unbelievable. They hate stocks as much as they love First Solar. They hate PayPal just as much. This is unbelievable. What's the PE on this thing now? It's like 11? I mean, is it going out of business?
Let's just be honest.
Is this what's happening?
Let's just be honest. There's alternatives.
There is. There was always alternatives, though. When they were paying 40 times earnings for this puppy, there was alternatives.
But there wasn't. I don't think there was that many alternatives. Now it's just a completely overran space in fintech, right?
I mean, how is this a regional bank? Is that what PayPal is now? Is it run like a regional bank? Because they kind of got it in there.
What's the latest thing that you know that PayPal has done?
When has a PE ever been 12 on PayPal? Is this like an all-time low for the PE on PayPal? I'm really curious. PayPal's been out, it's obviously the spinoff from eBay. Feels like 20 years ago. I don't know if the PE has ever been 12. I don't know if it's ever been this low.
I don't think so.
But when stocks are making new lows, you got to go. I mean, we're making a new, I don't even know how many years this is. We're through the COVID lows. We're through the 2022 lows. We're back to 2017 pricing. It's unbelievable, but it keeps going lower. I mean, Dan Nathan was on CNBC, and he's like, well, when it was 74, he's like, I'm going to take a shot at 70. That was last week. It's 61. I mean, just lost $9 more. The earnings were fine. This earnings report was actually pretty darn good. It doesn't even matter. They just hate this stock. I'm not buying a stock. I'm not going to be the hero trying to stop it here. I have no position in it, and it's hard to be a hero.
Yeah, you're back to levels that you saw in September of 2017, where you had, September 2017, you had a monthly low at 60.58. And what did you hit? You hit 61.31 on Friday, and not getting much of a bounce here. All right, I'm just going to wrap up the S&Ps here. We're up 7 handles with a lot of Fed talk in front of us. Nice little rally this morning. I mean, you got resistance and you got support here. You got the resistance at the 41.60 to 70, and then you got last week's low. I feel better about giving a level on the downside. We had a low on Thursday at 12.25. We went to 11.75 on Friday, and we bounced back out of there. So you got it until we take out that level. Looks like just we're in for more chop up and down. So great show today, guys. Not a lot of material, but we made it through it. So everyone have a great trading day, and back with you later on.
All right, Joel's getting out of here. We'll start the wrap up here. We'll get to the markets, and we'll see what we can do this week. I do want to let you guys know that Joel will be here also tomorrow. I will be here until Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You guys are going to have a special show, and the rants will not be held back as I won't be in the house, and Dennis will take over the show, and we're also going to have AB here to jump in. But I don't think AB is stepping in and stopping Dennis rants. So you guys get ready.
Give me rant central Thursday and Friday. Yeah,
get ready. I hope there's some market action.
Entire hour show.
Whenever Joel's out and I'm out, of course, the markets are gonna get hot or something. Something's bound to happen.
Something's gonna happen.
We'll be ready for that, like always. You ready for the market this week, Dennis?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, now I don't have to focus. I can start actually getting some sleep. Maybe you know what the biggest problem here? I never even realized in the last month while I'm not trading as well. I'm not getting any bloody sleep because I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning watching these bloody Oiler games.
Well, you don't have to worry no more.
No, I know. So now actually my trading might improve here because I don't have to watch the Oilers and get all. And then and even when they, so you think you're going to go to bed at 1 o'clock when they lose. No, you're too mad. So you can't go to bed. So you sit there on the couch for like a half an hour afterwards and you're just fuming. And you're like, so now it's like 2 a.m. and I'm finally going to bed. And then, I got the young kids. So, I this movement here all of a sudden. So then the 5-year-old who's now 6 runs, and she hears me. And then she's on, 3 in the morning. I literally have slept for 40 minutes. Then she pops in my bed. So I'm like, I just get no sleep. So here's the problem. That's why I'm grouchy. I've put it all together. That's why I'm grouchy. That's why it's all the Oilers' fault. Sports. They say, watch sports, get your kids hooked on sports. Yeah, it's just a lifetime
nothing
of
like good old melatonin.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, have a good one, Dennis. Take care, my friend. You guys keep up with everything Triple D does. Keep him up on his Twitter. I'll get you guys over to some live trading action. That's coming up next. I'm excited as I've been building on the small account challenge and going to keep pushing forward. And of course, we will have the book club soon enough, team. Sorry about missing on the Mother's Day, of course. Just had a little bit of a day. I switched it over. It wasn't Mother's Day for me, of course. It was, I'm going to call it Wife Day. We had a great day. Took my wife out to a good dinner. Had a great time. So I hope you guys out there had a great weekend, ready to get back after it. It's Monday. Let's go into this market with the focus of what? Process mentality, of course. I'm ready to get after it in live trading. Going to continue pushing up that small account and to continue working some swing trades later today. Start swing trade 3 p.m. Eastern, of course. 3 to 4. Don't miss that. That's my show to close the market. And I will have Christian Faumhertz on later today, 3:30 Eastern. Don't miss that interview. And like always, trader, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about swing trading, come check out the show. That's what it's all about. I know that there's a lot of day trading action that goes on out there, but I can tell you right now, where I have found my bread and butter is definitely in swing trading. And many traders have started to come out to me and send me message, right? Like, hey, yes, I did day trading for so long, but swing trading is truly where I'm finding my game at. We had a trader on that it was in the chat, just like you guys out there. So if you guys are finding your game in swing trading and want to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me. Mitch at BZ, of course, Money Mitch at BZ on Twitter, and then Mitch at Benzinga.com, my email. We'll see you guys over on live trading. That's starting up in just about 2 minutes. Hit the like. Let's go see what we can get into today.